They say a house is only as haunted as the memories that live within it. But what if the walls themselves remember? What if the whispers in the night aren't the echoes of the past, but the house itself trying to speak? I didn't believe in any of this. I mocked it even. Ghost stories were bedtime fuel. Shadows were shadows. Myths were just cautionary tales told to children who didn't understand grief, until I stepped inside that house that IT didn't look haunted. No peeling paint. No shattered windows. The grass was cut. The door freshly painted. It was a two-story Victorian tucked into the edge of a wooded lot just outside town. The kind of house you'd see on postcards, with gabled roofs, white siding, and a porch swing that creaked in the wind like a sigh held too long that I was hired to inspect it. A routine job. The previous owners had vanished. That's the word they used, vanished. As if they evaporated in daylight. No signs of struggle, no broken locks, no note. But the strange thing was, nothing in the house was packed. Clothes still hung in the closets. Food in the fridge, now spoiled and fetid. A half-eaten sandwich on a plate by the sink. It was like they'd simply gotten up in the middle of living and disappeared that I should have turned back when I saw the mirror in the front hallway. Not for what it showed, but for what it didn't. It reflected everything. The walls, the staircase, the door. But not me. I waved my hand. Nothing. Then I felt it. A breath behind my ear. Cold. Whispered. I turned. No one, but the whisper didn't stop. That IT wasn't a voice. Not at first. It was like the house was breathing. A long, slow inhale through the floorboards. And a soft exhale through the vents. And in between those breaths, words. He never left. I didn't understand it then. I thought maybe the wind was playing tricks. Houses groan. Pipes creak. But that wasn't groaning. That wasn't the plumbing. That was intention. I made my way to the living room, where the windows were draped in thick velvet curtains. The light was dim, sickly, not quite daylight, not quite shadow. That's where I found the first mark, carved into the wall behind the old couch. A symbol, a circle, split down the middle, with an eye etched into each half. It looked ancient and fresh. I ran my fingers over it, and the room changed temperature. Not colder, hot, suffocating. Like the air had been ripped from the room. I heard the whisper again. He watches from the dark. And then the lights died. I stood in blackness, so thick it felt like a liquid coating my lungs. I tried my phone flashlight, dead. I reached for the door, but something inside me screamed not to. Not yet. The house didn't want me to leave. Not until I listened to SOI Saturday, and it whispered that IT told me things I shouldn't know. The names of the family who lived there. What they argued about. What they feared. How the father used to drink and lock himself in the basement to scream. How the little girl used to draw that same circle-eye symbol on every wall. How they'd sleepwalk. All of them. Waking up in different rooms, facing corners, whispering back to the house. The house wanted something. And it took it point one by one. The whispering grew louder the deeper I walked. Past the kitchen. Down the hallway. To the basement door. It wasn't locked. But it resisted me. Like the wood itself didn't want to be touched. When I forced it open, the hinges let out a scream that echoed into the earth beneath. Down there, it was colder. There were candles, long melted into pools of wax on the concrete. Pages torn from books, symbols, sigils, all circled in our ED.I in the center, a chair, with restraints, and behind it, the wall was carved again. Dozens of circles, dozens of eyes, and something else, not carved, written. We tried to silence it, but the house remembers. I stood frozen. The air around me felt aware. I was being watched, not just from one place, but from every wall, every board. The house wasn't a vessel for something haunted. The house was the thing. That's when I heard the laughter. High-pitched, childlike, but not joyful. Mocking. It came from the corner, where the shadows were too deep for a space that small. A figure stepped out. Small, barefoot, a girl, no more than 10. Face pale, eyes wrong, too wide, too empty. She pointed behind me, and the walls whispered again. He never left. I turned. The chair was now occupied. A man. Gaunt, head down, skin gray and cracked. And when he looked up, it was me. My face, broken, hollow, whispering, "Let me go." The basement door slammed above me. I ran. but every stair felt longer. The hallway twisted. The rooms changed. The door was gone. The house wouldn't let go. Not until it finished telling its story. And I wasn't the guest, I was the next chapter.